Lubbock Cooper ISD Reading, Grade 7, 4th 6 weeks, Purposeful, Persuasion, and Analyzing Informational Text. Number 1. Which words from paragraph 3 help the reader understand the meaning of the word daunting? A. Challenge of solving real-world crisis. B. Make the world a better, more peaceful place. C. Demonstrates that young children. D. Have the desire. Number 2. Which of these is an opinion the author expresses about the World Peace Game? F. Hunter now spends part of his time teaching the World Peace Game to other teaching professionals through a partnership with schools in other Virginia counties. G. It is no surprise that both Hunter and the World Peace Game are becoming well known beyond the borders of Virginia. H. Time magazine named Hunter one of the 12 education activists to watch in 2012. J. The students also participated in a mock news conference and asked the press secretary questions about real-world issues. Number 3. The photograph of Hunter and his game helps the reader understand that the game A. involves a detailed setup, B. requires a specific number of players, C. leads to thought-provoking discussions, D. includes a great amount of physical activity. Number 4. Hunter most likely believes that students who play the World Peace Game will F. be motivated to find careers that are involved with promoting world peace, G. think of new rules and scenarios for the game as they play, H. be more aware of the events taking place in the world around them, J. create their own version of the game to share with their friends and families. Number 5. Read these sentences from the selection. This means that attempting to solve one problem can trigger or affect another problem. Paragraph 2. They end up considering deep moral questions in the process and thinking critically about the possible outcomes of their decisions. Paragraph 4. These sentences help the reader understand that playing the World Peace Game, A. can be an intense experience for players as they consider the impact of their choices. B. often leads players to become discouraged by the results of their choices. C. can be frustrating to many of the players because of its complexity. D. often results in players changing what they value in life. Number 6. Based on the details in paragraph 6, the reader can conclude that Hunter most likely F. thinks it is important to share the ideas and values of the World Peace Game with others, G. enjoys teaching others how to facilitate the World Peace Game more than playing the game himself, H. feels responsible for making sure people around the world follow the rules of the World Peace Game, J. knows that students will continue playing the World Peace Game when they are older. 7. The author includes the quotation in paragraph 3 to A. explain how students are able to achieve the goals of the game, B. demonstrate that the game is a valuable way to teach students about world cultures, C. suggest that playing the game has motivated students to create their own games, D. provide insight into how students react to playing the game. Number 8. What is the best summary of the selection? F. John Hunter, a 4th grade teacher, created the World Peace Game in 1978. In the game, the students find solutions to world problems. His students spend 8 weeks each year playing the game. The World Peace Game has attracted the attention of many different people around the world. G. In 1978, teacher John Hunter created the World Peace Game and shared it with his students. The game requires students to collaborate in order to solve simulated world problems. The game has attracted the interest of people all over the world. Hunter hopes playing the game will have a positive, lifelong impact on students. H. Every year, teacher John Hunter's students play the World Peace Game in his 4th grade class. In the game, students are assigned to a country and make decisions that will solve problems their country faces. Students must work together to solve the problems in the game. When all the problems are solved, the game is over. J. Since 1978, teacher John Hunter's students have been playing the World Peace Game. The game has gained Hunter attention from TV producers, and students around the world are now playing it. Hunter and his class have even been asked to explain the rules and purpose of the game to U.S. government officials. Use reinforcing the past to answer questions 9 through 13. Then fill in the answers on your answer document. Number 9. The author wrote this selection most likely to A. Describe the efforts to prevent the Leaning Tower of Pisa from collapsing. B. Convince people that the Leaning Tower of Pisa is worth saving. C. Explain why the earliest attempts to maintain the Leaning Tower of Pisa were unsuccessful. D. Demonstrate why the Leaning Tower of Pisa is not safe to enter. Number 10. Which detail from this selection explains why one attempt to fix the lean made the tower lean even more? F. Cables and weights were installed to stabilize the tower's lean. G. The tower continued to lean even after a bell chamber was placed on the tower's north side. H. A concrete leak made the tower's foundation more unstable. J. Soil was removed from beneath the north end of the tower to make the ground more even. Number 11. Which sentence from the selection is an assertion made by the author? A. In 1990, experts determined that the tower was dangerously close to toppling over and public entry into the tower was prohibited. B. One commission even suggested attaching helium balloons to the tower to hold it up, but the suggestion was never actually attempted. C. An international commission of historians and experts then began an effort to save the tower. D. If the tower leans significantly more, however, architectural experts and historians will surely once again come to the aid of the magnificent Leaning Tower of Pisa. Number 12. Which idea does the information in paragraph 2 support? F. The tower was difficult to build without modern technology. G. The problem with the tower was evident early in its construction. H. The addition of the bell tower caused the tower to lean more. J. The construction of the tower was a slower process than expected. 13. The reader can conclude that the tower will most likely A. Need to be monitored and maintained for as long as it continues to stand. B. Be completely straightened using technology that will become available in the future. C. Become more magnificent as it continues to lean. D. Help experts solve structural problems with other buildings. Use the Cuddy-Sark to answer questions 14 through 17. 14. How does the author support the idea that the Cuddy-Sark was once considered a technologically advanced ship? F. By mentioning the sailing records the ship had set. G. By stating the dimensions of the ship. H. By explaining the ship's role in the tea trade. J. By telling about the ship's later uses. 15. How does the author organize the selection? A. By contrasting the design of the Cutty Sark with that of other ships and then providing evidence supporting the idea that the design of the Cutty Sark was superior. B. By explaining why the Cutty Sark was an important ship and then describing efforts to preserve it. C. By providing examples of how the Cutty Sark had been a useful ship in the past and then discussing how opinions about the Cutty Sark have changed over time. D. By summarizing the main problem that the Cutty Sark encountered and then relating how the problem was solved. 16. What is the author's main purpose for writing this selection? F. To demonstrate how the Cutty Sark helped a country's economy. G. To convince the reader that the Cutty Sark was the fastest vessel of its time. H. To explain that the Cutty Sark is an important part of London's history. J. To identify why a special exhibit had to be created to display the Cutty Sark. 17. The photograph at the end of this selection is included to A. Illustrate why the Cutty Sark needed renovation. B. Highlight the Cutty Sark's historical significance. C. Indicate the number of people who can visit the Cutty Sark each day. D. Show how a defining feature of the Cutty Sark is displayed. Use reinforcing the past in the Cutty Sark to answer questions 18 through 21. 18. According to the selections, the Leaning Tower of Pisa is different from the Cutty Sark because F. The Leaning Tower of Pisa had been flawed since its construction, but the Cutty Sark functioned well for many years. G. The Leaning Tower of Pisa had achieved fame in recent years, but the Cutty Sark was famous from the time it was built. H. The work on the Leaning Tower of Pisa is finished, but the work on the Cutty Sark is ongoing. J. The Leaning Tower of Pisa can no longer be used as a bell tower, but the Cutty Sark can still be used for some of its original purposes. 19. Read this sentence from Reinforcing the Past. In 1934, an attempt to stabilize the tower, including injecting concrete into the stone foundation, but some of the concrete seeped under the foundation, causing the tower to lean even more. Which sentence from the Cutty Sark relates a similar idea? A. A clipper is a fast-sailing ship, and the Cutty Sark's sleek hull made it ideal to serve in the trade between China and England. B. The trust closed the ship to the public in 2006, and an architectural firm began a long conservation project. C. Unfortunately, during the renovation in 2007, the ship caught fire when a vacuum cleaner was left on. D. The clipper was later used for training officers who served in the Royal Navy in World War II. Number 20. One difference between the efforts to preserve the Leaning Tower of Pisa and those of the Cutty Sark is that the efforts related to the Cutty Sark included F. Fixing the structure in a way that allowed it to perform its original function. G. Finding a way to increase the number of people visiting the structure. H. Changing the way the structure was displayed. J. Repairing specific parts of the structure. 21. The authors of both selections share the history of their subjects in chronological order to emphasize that A. Structures can quickly fall into a state of despair if they are not properly maintained. B. There is an ongoing debate about the best ways to restore historical structures. C. The restoration of the structures take less time when the projects are adequately funded. D. The significance of the structures has been recognized for a long time.